I'm Melanie. I've been homeless since November 30th of 2012. I lost my job and unemployment ran out and couldn't find a job, so I've been living in my car for almost 5 months, and it's been a challenge for sure. This is my dog Zoe. She's a little Jack Russell Terrier, 10 and a half years old. She's probably the most important thing in this whole situation. Here you go. Oh. I actually never thought I would be able to sleep in this little tiny car, but I don't know. Humans are pretty adaptive. This goes over here for the dog. And then I take my shoes off when I sleep, and I just go right like this. And cover up with a blankie, and I'm out like this. I kind of feel like I'm like the strongest woman on earth right now. You know, it's like there's not much I can't handle with friends, with help. That was my biggest lesson, was accepting help. It truly was. It was the hardest thing for me to do. Initially, when I was homeless, I very much isolated myself. I would not make eye contact with people. You know, you're having to go into a McDonald's and use their restroom without buying their burgers. It can be sketchy, but I was always just really polite to people. I didn't litter, I didn't, cause trouble. And so, I found a few good places to park that were semi-safe, and I've made it.
Hi there. How's it going?
I'm okay.
We got someone here. Who's that?
This is Zoe.
Hi, Zoe. Oh, I like the brown ear.
Yeah, I know, that's what makes her a Jack Russell.
Oh. And
I was, did you guys get some shows?
great.
Melanie Mason, M-E-L-A-N-I-E.
Okay.
Zoe.
Zoe. Here we go.
Well, when I first came here, the first couple days, I was pretty much silent. I was overwhelmed with the women and the chatter and talk, and it took me a couple days to kind of accept that I was worth helping, or that there was help for me. And I'm so glad I came. Things like that aren't easy for me, and I like to be on the other end. I like to be the giving.
Oh yeah, go for it.
I started the Homeless Diaries just on my Facebook page. I have like 145 friends, and I just thought, well, you know what? I'm at the bottom of wherever I could be. I might as well just put it out there and see what happens. And so I started the Homeless Diaries, and just in the first one, I kind of just explained what I've done in my life, and the fact that I can't find a job, and that I am in fact homeless. December 1st, 2012. In my life, I have picked berries and beans, sold light bulbs and Christmas cards door to door. Social media can, be a negative thing, but for me, it worked out really well, because I think it really it made the awareness there. I just simply was raw and honest, and put out what was going on. Absolutely expected nothing from it. In fact, I thought I'd just get flack from people going, whatever. But it so wasn't that way. It was people that I haven't seen since 1975, when we graduated from high school. And they brought me boots and a sleeping bag and little things with chocolates and peanuts, and just all kinds of gloves and a hat. And after they did that, they'd put on, "Do you need anything else?" I was completely overwhelmed. The compassion and the generosity of spirit as well as the little bit of financial was amazing. I mean, right when I think it was like it was too much for me to take, I'd go get free Wi-Fi and pop on Facebook, and someone would say, you know, you're in my thoughts, you're in my prayers. I got everything from prayers, just, you know, kind thoughts, suggestions for jobs. In fact, the job I have now, I work for senior helpers taking care of elderly. That was a suggestion from a Facebook friend. I had never heard of the company, didn't know about it. So now I'm gainfully employed, and it's a good feeling. I knew once I found a job that eventually this would end. I didn't know when or, you know, how long it would take, but now I think, you know, things are going to be much better. I'm going to have my own little place, and Zoe's going to be very, very happy.
Bye guys. Adios. Okay. Well, to me, homelessness is having no place to go where you're not welcome. No, I'm not homeless. I'm not homeless. I don't have a place, a permanent place, and but I know I have a place to sleep. If I need someplace to sleep tonight, well, I can go. I know where to go. I go to my daughter's house, and as for my belongings, well, my stuff are there. They're in storage and everything. I think homeless is like being where you're. Not being homeless is being where you're wanted. There you go. Almost 20 years I've been here, so I made it my home because from the time I first came here, I felt at home. I just felt like, wow, this is the place to be. Because I came from Yakima, which is a small city. 2003. 2003, I left my husband and I lived on the street. I went to the safe shelter when it was over on Ankeny next to where it's at underneath the Burnside Bridge. And then I stayed there for the whole summer. And I didn't want to go back to them, but I had my children and I didn't want to leave them. You know, they were still, you know, they were pretty well teenagers, which was pretty hard. But my youngest one, she was 12 years old. I wanted to get away from domestic violence. That was the first real reason, and then the second reason was because I wanted to get away, but I wanted to be free to do what I felt with my own free will, do what I wanted to do. For once in my life, in 20 some years, that I wasn't able to do. I went to the motions every day when I wasn't, but it wasn't like being my own free spirit, doing what I really enjoyed. So I guess I would kind of placed myself in that position, but on my own free will, I went into it. Well, is that understandable? As for danger, yeah, I've been in situations where it's dangerous, but I think I lived being with my husband was dangerous too, you know. But this could be, you know, kind of scary because you don't know what's gonna, you know, come up, and it happens to me a few times. In fact, one time I was raped, and I couldn't report it, but I don't know, there was the circumstance in that time, I couldn't handle it. But now if it was to happen, I think I would probably die to let that happen to me again. You know, but I couldn't deal with the trauma and the feelings and the conscience, you know, being violated in my body, you know, and because there's God that lives in each of us. We have to defend it, and that's how I feel. I don't know what the. It really hasn't. It has affected me, but it hasn't affected me. You know, it's kind of made me feel like that. I don't put my aspirations that high anymore. I used to really idealize. I thought when I went to all those years of college, I thought, wow, when I get up, I'm going to get the ideal job. I'm going to be a CEO, or I'm going to be, you know, somebody that's in charge and everything. But those issues, they're not me anymore. My ideals are just living each day at a time, and that's all that matters. The things that happened to me in the past when we were together and what he put me through, but I also blame myself. That's why I think it's the source of my self-esteem, for letting myself be controlled. And when I felt that I knew better, and I knew that it just wasn't going to work, that my life eventually would be without him, and that I have to regain control of myself, my own self. And I think I'm pretty well. It's taken a long time. It's been like 5 to 6 years now. In 2008, we had an incident of domestic violence. I knew I was defending myself, but I had the feeling that he deserved it, because it was either him or me. Then I found out later that it was a criminal charge. It was a felony, and then there went my 13 years of college. And all my experiences of volunteering and working for lawyers and not being able to work in certain agencies, and I didn't fathom it until a year later, and then I woke up and I realized that my life has changed drastically, and I can't go back to the life that I used to dream about, being the respectable woman in charge and controlling and respected. It just now it seems to me it was just like a dream that could never come true. I know I can make it some way, but it's my depression just gets me down at times. Homeless is, like I said, it could be, you know, it could be spiritual, or it could be, you know, how you feel. You know, I know my mother was homeless because she chose to be. She could have come to me and stayed. She had 12 children, but she chose not to go to any of them. She wanted to be by herself and deal with her problems. She didn't want to lean on anybody. I was homeless when I was younger. My family, we were in a migrant workers, so it really wasn't that much of a change. It was just like forever looking for a job or looking for somewhere else, because we were migrant workers, that was basically what life was. It didn't really change me that much. But I knew those brief periods that when I lived, you know, had a house and I, you know, had lived like the regular people, I felt bored, you know. Maybe I'm a gypsy. Maybe that's what maybe I was made those things don't bother me. And now I have a daughter that's homeless. She's going to have a baby, and she has one, and but she hasn't given up the hope that she will find a place. She's trying to help herself. And when you don't want to help yourself, that's when you have issues of hopelessness, and I think that's the root of it all. It's the hopelessness.
Hi, my name is Carla Thompson. I'm 51 years old and I'm homeless. I've been homeless now for about 5 months, since December. had a roommate, and he was a disabled vet, and he had PTSD, and he was bipolar. And we moved from Medford. We lived together 6 months in Medford. Everything was fine, but when we moved here to Portland, he kind of freaked him out a little bit. So he left me in the apartment, and the rent was $1,200 a month, and I couldn't afford it on my income. And so he abandoned me. So I had to move out the apartment. So I was, how I became homeless. And I went directly to well, first I slept in my car for 2 weeks till I found where the shelter was downtown. There's a lot going on in the city, a lot of homelessness, and well, I got my car broken into. That was an experience for me because I accidentally fell asleep inside the shelter and left my backpack. And so they broke my window out and took my backpack with all my identification. Just being around, a lot of people like this and seeing a lot of suffering going on, it's kind of heartbreaking to see it. Even though I'm suffering, it's still hard to see other people sleeping on the streets and doing their drugs and, stuff like that. Safety is a big issue with me. That's why I stay in the shelter and not in my car most of the time. And it's just, it's the city. I don't think women belong on the streets. They belong inside, with safety, and they can take care of themselves and get their kids back. I don't have little kids, but I think that women need a place where they can raise their families and be treated as a woman, and not let what happened to them be the cause for them to be homeless for the rest of their life just because something bad happened to them one time or they made the wrong decision. That shouldn't cost them the rest of their life. They have to be out in the streets. I should be able to recover from my mistake that I made or what happened to me. I should be able to recover from that as a woman. It's hard to come up once you become homeless in the city because the people around you, they're just bringing you more down, and then you have nobody to help you, to help yourself. You have to come and find the places, but if you're not in the right frame of mind, you won't even search out for the places that can help you. I tell a lot of girls in the shelter where places are to help them, but they won't leave the shelter. They can't, think wisely enough to leave, to seek the help. You have to hold on to it. I have to do my part to stay strong, and I have to do my part to reach out for help. And that's, I don't know, I just try to maintain, my way of life and not, give up. That's the main thing. I'm not gonna give up. As long as I don't give up, I can make it, and to realize that tomorrow will be better. There could be a better day, and that's what the thing. A lot of women lose hope. I feel that people have more. The people who have more. They were blessed so that they can be a blessing to others. That's the way I feel, and if I ever can bless others, if I ever be financially, I will bless others. That's why you have more, so you can bless others with it. But I've seen a lot of people come downtown and bless us. I've gotten clothes and sold and everything I've needed. They come down and it's really a blessing when people come down and share their blessing with us homeless people. because we need, it's not much as what they're giving, it's what they're showing us when they give to us. And it's showing that somebody do care, because a lot of us are family. We don't have family or anybody that care about us because of the situation that we're in. We get abandoned by our family and friends. And so when the people do come down and share what they have with us, it's really a blessing to us. I believe I've grown, like I said, you know, I believe I became stronger because I'm out here by myself, and that makes it even harder because I have nobody to talk to sometimes about what I'm going through. Nobody to understand. So I have nobody but the Lord to talk to, and so it made me lean stronger, more on Him for what I need, and He's the only one that I've been able to talk to lately, and understand, and that made me, lean on Him more. Maybe that's, why I'm in this situation. So He'll get all the glory when I do come out of this situation, that nobody else can say, well, they did it for me. No man can say he did it for me because I don't have one. He's nobody, no man there. And it's, it's an experience, that's for sure. That when I was younger, I never thought I'd grow up to be a homeless woman. That wasn't in my agenda, but here I am, and I'm gonna make it through, and I'm gonna get out of this homelessness. Yeah.
My name is Patricia Winarchek. Friends call me Jude, which is ironic. It's a patron saint of hopeless causes. My personal favorite. I come from the East Coast, and I've been living in Portland since 2000. I was trading stocks for 10 years in Pittsburgh, and then came here to do the same type of work. I was severed on a bank buyout in 2006 and lost a very high-paying job. And so I was in my late 40s and suddenly didn't have any career. People might be surprised to learn that I'm an extremely sensitive person and that I'm not as tough as I might look. And that I've since gone back to school and that I've tried to get a teaching certificate. And that I was a coach, and that I was I'd say a average to above average basketball player in college and high school, and that I'm an addict. Let's see. When I lost my job, I found my circumstances to be debilitating, physically and emotionally and spiritually. I felt cheated, and I think I felt resentful. And so addiction is the type of thing that we, ultimately we use to change the way we feel. And that's exactly what I did. So I just kind of lost myself, and there's nothing good about that, except that if you find your way back, if you're lucky enough to find your way back, you start to see the blessings in your loss and in your vulnerabilities. You know, that's what happened to me. It's funny because one of the things that I remember most is I remember looking out the window of my office. And I remember there was this woman that would be panhandling there. And I remember some of the guys always making fun of this woman. And I remember thinking to myself, you know, that there was some sort of, she was a kindred spirit to me. I found it that their humor around that went against the grain of who I was. But yet I worked in an environment where, you know, I tolerated things like that, judgments and opinions and about people that we would see downtown, you know, because downtown is also an area of recovery, you know, and it's where the homeless people, you know, exist. It's a population of homeless people as well as business people. And I crossed those lines. And I remember that there was something about that woman that I felt connected to. And in my addiction and in my homelessness, I became that woman, so to speak. I remember when I was on that park bench a block from my office. And I remember this woman and her child veering away from the bench, you know. But, you know, and I like to, it was the first time I was okay feeling what I was feeling. I paid attention to it so that I would know and remember, you know. Because just because we veer away doesn't mean that I'm still not there. I'm still there, you know. That was quite a feeling. When we walk by and we pass over that person on the street because it's, you know, because we think that they're just lacking morals or values, or because they've suffered from mental illness, or that they've lost their jobs and become destitute and didn't know how to figure out how to get out of it, and or if they're addict, alcoholic. When we walk by them and we don't make eye contact with them, that's the real tragedy, you know. Because what they can offer us is far more greater than what we could ever offer them, you know. The women that have impacted my life have been women that have been there and have felt it and are there now doing what they can, you know. To be homeless and to be a woman on the streets is, for me, was the most terrifying experience of my life. Because when the sun goes down and you're alone, you become the most vulnerable of the most vulnerable. Your life is compromised every single day when the sun goes down. Your life is compromised. You know, this isn't the days of Little House on the Prairie. You know, these are violent times. And violence against women, in my experience of being out there, is very real. And you know, and sometimes the truth is, the authentic truth is that we do things as women, incomprehensible, demoralizing things, for a warm place to be. That's the truth. And that shouldn't happen. And I've had the good fortune of meeting women that have survived that. You know, I'm a survivor of that. And, you know, but there is something so magnificent about a woman helping another woman. You know, a woman helping another woman and saying, you know, today you're going to be okay. And I think that we have an obligation. I think we have an obligation to make sure that happens. You know, because it is a dangerous world. And that's not the way to leave, and that's not the way to go out in this world, is to be, by no fault of your own, alone on the street. Me and you, I mean, we've talked about gratitude, you know. Unless you've gone without it, you don't know how great it is to have it. You know, some people never got to experience a massage on Fridays and a weekend at the Four Seasons. Well, I had that. Losing my job was like losing a part of my identity, but it was never really who I was. You know, it was really never who I was. Who I am is a person that without judgment can look at another person who's in the same predicament and be profoundly affected by the things that they say in a beautiful way. You know, to be able to look at another woman in the same position and say, you know, being here with you is a true blessing, because that's where you're going to see courage, and that's where you're going to see selflessness, and that's where you're going to feel and get a chance to experience real gratitude. You know, I mean, suddenly getting an apple from somebody takes on a whole new meaning. You know, and you know, I come here now that I have an apartment and I'm doing okay, and I come here now because this is where the beautiful people are to me. You know, I mean the true beautiful people. And when I come here, their experiences is a gift to me, because it reminds me of what courage looks like, of what authenticity looks like.
I'm so looking forward. The very first time I take a shower in my house and lay down in a bed. I haven't laid my legs out straight in 5 months, so a little bit cramped in the car, but it's going to be beautiful. The first night I lay down on a bed with clean sheets and get up and be able to fry an egg on my own stove. Come on in. I'm so just looking forward to the everyday thing. I mean, just normalcy. It's my home. Going to work and coming home and making a little dinner and watching a little TV and going to bed. I don't have a lot of desires in life, but I will forever cherish having my own place again. It really is a pretty kitchen.
I want to live because I have children, grandchildren now, and they mean so much for me. I'm not rich, but I don't think I'm very poor either. You know, I think I'm a lot better off than some people in my situation, and I have and I'm aware, you know, that there are places to go and people who care. And if I hadn't thought about it, some days I don't feel like that because I think that's part of my disease. But when I'm in my better mind, you know, I always think, wow, I'm so grateful, you know, and I pray, and I know there's other people that don't even know how to pray, that they don't have no comfort in themselves, and I think that's how I feel today. I try not to think of the past. And when I come across those feelings, you know, in the past that I had, negative and anger and hopelessness, and I look at that and I pray to myself, you know, I say to myself, you know, get over those, you know, they're fleeting thoughts. I try to make them fleeting. I try to make them go away, and because of my religious upbringing, also it helped me. because I know there's somebody, a spirit out there, a supreme being that helps guide me through those moments. That's me.
I've written a book. I've written a book about when I was in a coma, and I'm hoping to get it published one day. And along with some of the experience I'm going through now, I'm hoping to finish school. Um, was a double major, and being homelessness stopped me from finishing that. And I just hope to be settled, in my own apartment, being able, to reach out to girls someday, not just forget about what the homeless people when I do get myself together, but still be able to go back and visit and talk with them and be a light to them and show them if I could do it, that they could do it too. And that's my goal, that I can be a light to, because they seen where I was at with them. And then now, if I get my own place, they'll see, that it can be done. If you just, leave those drugs alone, you can put your mind to anything that you want to do. And so that's where I hope to be in the future, to be able to turn around and help somebody else like I'm being helped.
I always like to think that if there was a posse of people, a posse of strong-willed women that would go out and just encircle a woman that was homeless and say, today we're working on you. And the rest of you, we're coming for you, I mean, like the Wild Wild West, sort of. Because it can be done. See, we shouldn't have to make them come to us. Because I'm going to tell you something, when you're alone and you've been alone and you're out there, it starts to get the best of you. Pretty soon you can't make it. You can't make it to the bus because there are roadblocks. There are roadblocks that will keep you from getting the help that you need. I'm way more alive now because there's something liberating about being who you are. And, I know that the greatest gifts of my life came from tragedy, came from this experience, which ultimately became a lesson in gratitude, a lesson in selflessness, which I talk about, a lesson in the golden rule. I mean, for real. I am a far more beautiful person having had this experience than not. I'm just one of the lucky ones, that I was able to put my life back together. And it's still not 100%, I'm forever changed. I'm forever changed. For me, I wasn't truly myself until I experienced. I was never true to myself until I experienced that part of life. The part where we lose things and where we're alone and where we're feeling lost and vulnerable, because, I was on a park bench. I was lying on a park bench a block away from where I once had an office, and all of my education, I have not learned more valuable lessons than the life lessons I learned in being homeless and in being an indigent and in being an addict. I wholeheartedly believe that there will be nothing in my life that will be more sacred than to have experienced this. And that's, people don't understand it. People look at me and they'll say, man, that's too bad what happened to you. And I say, the real tragedy is that you don't get to know me like I am today. I'm a far greater person having experienced it. Does that make sense?